5 to 7 inches in length. Stick it on your lathe, round it, and then go ahead and shape whatever you want as far as a shape goes. Try to get something that's real plain. Otherwise, if you're getting things with big, deep corners in, they can run into all kinds of troubles. I don't know if you've looked through any of these things over here, but these were my first attempts at trying to do this. I was at the symposium in Utah, and Stuart Mortimer was doing something on that idea. In fact, I think this is a picture, if you get wood turning, this was on the cover of one of the magazines, and I saw it and I said, well, I'm getting tired of doing natural edges. I got to try something different. So I figured, yeah, I'll give this a try. I had tried once or twice previous to try to do hollow forms, and scared the daylights out of me getting in there, and you get these wicked catches. And I think the second time I tried, I just about cut off my little finger. I mean, I got a catch, and it was so fast, I didn't feel a thing. Then I looked down, blood everywhere. I look and I can see the bone, and I can see the tendon, and I said, holy mackerel, and I won't do this again for a while. So a couple of years later, I decided I'd try again. And so I read all the books on how to draw all your lines and make all that stuff, and I just couldn't make it come out right, plain and simple. So I just gave up on it, and I decided I'm going to try something just myself. So I'm no math genius either, so that's what one of the big problems are. So with this, all you need is a little ruler and a pencil, and I'll show you how I start doing this now. Oh, this chart doesn't. Okay. Okay. Now on my chuck, I can use my tool rest to push it up against here, and each of these, there's 4 of them on it, so I can divide it into 4 slots. So what I did, to save a lot of time, because there's no way I can do much turning here, because it takes forever. I mean, the first one I tried, I think it was 3 weeks. The lines in, and then you connect all the different sections here, so you can make your spiral. And then you go 16 to 20 was about nice for this side. So when you divide it into 4, I'm going to make this one 20. So I divided it into 4, and then I measured the distance, divided that by 5, and so then I just measured off, made a little line at each one. And so I'll go back in. Let's see, I'll do it on a white one here so you can see. Can you see these little lines here? These are the marks, and I'll just go ahead and do that.
Would a curved rest be helpful?
Probably. I'd have one. I never even thought of that. But I'm real new at this stuff, so every time I do one, I do it a little bit different, and I learn a little something else. I've only been doing it for a couple of months now. So.
Does your lathe have an index?
It does, but I don't know how to use it. Like I said, I can go into things that are nice and easy. Okay.
You've already divided those sections.
Yeah, otherwise it just takes too long, I'll never get to anything else.
John Paul Fennell, actually, didn't he design a curved wooden tool rest to mark his stuff off? Did you go to his demo? Yeah, he had he kind of built a post and had cut his plywood or something and had a curve and it kind of surrounded his piece. That's an idea.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Yeah, but this will work. You just move one to move it to this side for this side, and then this side for the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably almost enough. I'll just simply connect this. You just draw lines there. Can you see? Just let me know if you can't see.
Yeah, let's see.
And then here.
We come across this here. You're good with keep going.
Okay, and then down here. And then here. Do the same thing on the next one. That if you want, you can just, sometimes I'll just go ahead and do 4 or 5 of one so that you're not straggling over the thing, straddling over it so much.
Really good.
It's like a tiny little saw. And when I first started, I'll show you what I used. And this is this worked out half decent. This is another tool. It's like a rasp. And you can use files. You can use all kinds of...
Put it there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See all the little rough things? The problem with this, though, is it slips all over the place. You can't stay on the line. See what I'm trying to do? Because it follows the curve. And so I gave up on that because that took forever. And then I tried a file, and that worked half decent. And then what I found that I really didn't like were these. And this worked pretty good. It's a microplane? Microplane, yeah. But it's real flimsy. And, when I was digging out the little ruts here, it bent in half, so I stuck a little dowel in it so that I could continue to use it. And this is actually kind of nice because it gives you a nice little trough. But it's time consuming and your arm falls off and everything else. So I figured, that's not going to work. So then I finally stumbled on, there's one more thing I found. This worked good. It's a tungsten carbide type file. And I'm still using this. And this works pretty nice. And this actually gives me, see, a nice little trough there. But again, it takes forever. So then,
Dremel has a shaft, a flexible shaft. Have you ever tried that?
A what?
A flexible shaft.
Oh, I got one. I didn't try that, but I mean, it's just like the Dremel.
Yeah, it's a Dremel, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like the big tool, but you can use your finger. But
yeah, it's a little easier than the whole tool.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now.
Right over there. You want my face?
One for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Right there on top of the vacuum.
Okay. What do they see right there?
Thank you.
Okay, if I come over here, is that going to be a problem? No problem, because on my lathe, I usually hop up on my lathe, and then I can get right on top of it. It works out pretty good. Okay, now, let's go ahead.
Bring over here, Carl.
Go ahead and take that off again for a minute, so I can just move this around like that. I cut one slot here, cut another one over here, and another one over here. And I drilled down, and that'll be the next stage. I have another tool here that I use.
Whichever way you want it.
Oh, here it is. Okay. This was a really handy tool. It's like a little saw, but it's a drill. It has a drill bit. Oh, yeah. You see that? And this helps you make the rut bigger. Because you have to remember, you've got to be able to get stuff in there to sand it. Because then if you cut these two. Now, I was going to bring one of the other ones over here. But this is a
Sorry.
This is an, actually, you don't have to hold it now. I can rotate it here. But this does, unfortunately, though, it tears up the wood a little bit. So I quit using that, and I found something that's a little smoother without the little point on the end. And because it was the point thing that was doing the job.
Where did you get those, Dottie?
You can find almost all this stuff in Home Depot, Sears, and Watch and Supply.
Huh.
Yeah.
Never looked for them.
And the thing, it runs all over the place, so you just have to kind of keep an eye on it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll drill this out a little bit more, but I'm going to pass these around. How can I do this really good? Okay, I started out with all these different sanders, gradually. Oh, and before you get too far into it, you want to sand as best you can on the inside. Once you get this as thin as you can get it, you want to sand the bottom because you'll have a hole, a little tip from the Boston bit there, and you have to clean that out. When it's hard, you always get that dimple in the bottom. It's just a beast to get rid of. So I just make different sanders, and I take a drill and just go in there and spin it and work my way down a little bit. Now, you can sand pretty good when you only have a couple of holes, but once you start getting a few holes in there, they just lie out, depending on how thin you get it. So you just have to be very careful and do your thing carefully. Now, these little, what I did was I got real thin sticks, and as you can see, this one won't even fit in there. So I ended up making smaller ones and smaller ones. And so I used little popsicle sticks. And see, it works right in there. And this is how you can sand and make a difference. If you notice some of my first bowls over there, they're really rough. I mean, I sanded and sanded to doomsday with this and that and all that type of stuff. Just, I couldn't get it good. And the last one that I did, I found if I make it pretty strong, and you can probably see some of those over there, the last ones that are this type of wood, the ash, I left them a little bit bigger and stronger, and I found a way to sand them real easy. What you start out with is 1 or 2 pieces, like in here like this. And just keep working it, and you want it to be so that it's real snug, but not so snug that you break off one of the spirals in there. Okay, now normally, see, this would be still. It doesn't move. Look. Okay. So, yeah. And so this really works pretty good. And you just keep adding pieces to it until it gets thicker and thicker. And I would say this cuts down on 80% of your time sanding.
What grit are you using?
What's that?
What grit?
What grit?
Oh, I start out with about 80. And then, just work up like you normally would do. In fact, I only use 2 or 3 grits. I'll use an 80, maybe a 120, and then about 320. And it seems to work out fairly good, I think. Now, there's also, if you noticed over there, there's one little one. That's it's either, I guess that's a right hand. They're either all right hands and one left hand or the other way around. And all you do is you just make your lines go the opposite direction. Same way to do it and everything. You just have to go the other way.
So you use sandpaper folded over, you make it thicker that way, huh?
Yeah, it adds to it so that you can, Otherwise, you won't get all the, you still have to go back
Pretty clever.
with all these little things, and because then you go one by one and you look and you got little ruts there, and you just do that. And you put the sandpaper on the side of the popsicle stick so you can do this, and that works so-so. And then I came up with, like I said, bringing in the one. Okay. Put sandpaper on little skinny dowels so you can do this part. This one's too big for this, but I have little ones too. I didn't. Oh, there you go. And that gives you a nice edge right there, so it looks a whole lot better. The other ones, you know, that.
Also, the bottom of the hole down here. Huh?
Yeah, and it's hard working down in this corner. So you literally have to work way over to one side, and sometimes I'll leave that last one. Now, I suppose what you could do is you could add to this and get it away from the chuck, get rid of this and figure out exactly what type of a bottom you want to put on it, and then, you know, allow yourself enough room there so you can actually work down in those spots there. But you can do, you know, once you take it off the lathe, I mean, you can still put it back and everything. It's not like when you're turning, you can take it off and it's never the same again, you know. But then you can do a nice job on all the ends once you're holding it in your hand, or you can set it up some other way so that you have room here, like you do up here. This side is the side that's seen the most anyway, so this side would come out kind of nice if you have plenty of room here, and you have to make sure that you sand all this in here too, because this is where people will feel they can only go so far.
Obviously, it's a good bowl.
Well, let's see, what else here? See if I covered all the bases. Any questions?
Come on.
What kind of finish do you like to use?
Those are all white on polys. But if you're doing like Coca-Cola, I did a couple of Coca-Colas there. Don't put any finish on those. I would just buff them. Oh, that was another thing. Be really careful buffing. There's nothing worse than you're all done and you got most of it, you know, you start polishing it, and all of a sudden, and then you're hunting around trying to find a couple of the spirals to glue them back in again. You can. I got one over there that I don't know exactly which one it is because I can't tell now, but one of them was missing 2 spirals, which I found and was able to glue back together again.
But you use the D-all system with the buffing, with the Tripoli and
but just
white diamonds and all that.
all I did was I did use the rouge and the wax. I didn't bother with the white diamond.
And you probably buff with the seams. You don't buff against it, do you? You hold your hand into it. I was wondering if it would catch on these things. No.
I would say that's probably the wisest thing to do. But very gently. Well, you'll figure it out. You know, as soon as you.
Blow your first one out.
20 hours into it.
Curtis, you'll figure it out on the third one.
Or fourth, yeah.
Now, like, see the big walnut one over there? Now, with that one, I use this to make my channels. So, again, I had to use these little things here. These are real neat. It's a ball, and there's a pointed one, and they're good for when you're going down in here. What I did want to do was to use the Dremel to cut out one, but we couldn't hollow in on that one, so unfortunately I can't do that. I suppose I could do it on one of these. Yeah, I bet I can. we don't have to run that. Just depends if people want to watch that much. Okay. Okay, I'll do this. I'll do it right here. So. This really builds muscles. You could probably let go. I could probably hold it to this, or we can hold it down to this, but I'll just hold it and rotate it here. Now, if you can get it nice and thin, you could probably almost do the whole thing with one of these. The good thing about this is you can use it right down, because that's where you chew up everything. See, the more you chew up, the more work you have. So you want to try to keep it just as lean as possible. And this thing really, really does good. I was really impressed with this. Now, I found this at Harbor Freight, and there's a whole set of those, too, at Harbor Freight. Comes like that, and it's these are all drills, and you'll see how the drill part works when I get down a little bit farther.
Bit saw drill set.
Yeah, it's like $7 or $8 for
What's
three
it
of
called?
them. Cheap.
Bit/saw drill set. Let's say this is.
Yeah.
Bit saw drill set. How inventive! What a creative name.
Oh, it's over here now. Yeah.
We moved it on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
this all drill set.
3-piece.
Two-piece set. See, the little one's missing because I have it out. But it's a nice little
What
set.
is the stuff on your hand? What is that? I mean,
This?
Yeah, what is it?
It's
It's like a rock.
I think it's tungsten carbide. I had a package here.
Oh, a tile.
Hmm.
It's what for like a hacksaw blade. That's it. That's okay. I know what it is now.
It's a, yeah, you know what it is. Okay.
I had one.
In hours.
I was going to say, what is on now? But when you finish your first one, you feel pretty good because there's a lot of work that goes into it. And it's nice now. Okay, see, I have a pretty good sized groove here now. And now the object is to drill through to the inside. So I found that, and I trimmed the inside of this bowl pretty thin. Now I can use the Dremel, which I've tried, but it jumps all over the place and hacks up all the outside of the wood. It's not worth it. I mean, you get it done in a few seconds, but it takes you another half hour to fix all the scratches and scrapes and everything. This is a project where you really have to be very patient. Okay, now see, that's the object to go through it right. And then this actually will drill it out pretty nice. I'll just get it a little thinner. And I said to myself, oh, happy days, boy, this is so much easier.
Actually, I think can you see through it there?
Can you see?
Yeah.
And that's what you do. You just, every single one, you just work your way along. Now, what you do is once you get one done, you sand it. Because otherwise, it's too weak, and you'll break things. So each one you do, you sand it. You don't have to sand it beautifully, but sand it pretty good. And then when you're all done, then you start going back. You go through it one by one, and that's when you use the finer grits. And you'll see all your cuts, which you thought you had perfectly done, but there'll be scrapes, all kinds of scratches and whatnot. And then you can, same thing on the inside, up here, you can actually sand a little bit with your hand. But run this very, very slowly. In fact, all the turning on this, I found I liked hollowing at a very slow speed. It's nothing worse than losing fingers or something like that.
Well, what's slow speed? 500 RPM?
I don't know, I just turn the dial.
Well, question about it. Anybody have any more?
Yeah, any more questions?
Any other?